Picture this for a moment. Someone, somewhere, in a conversation that was never meant to reach you, is pleading, not casually asking, pleading, using the kind of language people only use when they understand exactly how much is at stake if the thing they are asking for does not happen. Please do not tell them, that is the energy I am picking up right now, Virgo. Word for word almost. Someone is actively, urgently, almost desperately trying to maintain a wall of silence around something that involves you. And the reason their pleading carries this much intensity is because they know on some level that the wall is already cracking. It is not holding. And the people they are asking to stay silent, the ones they are counting on to keep covering for them, to keep maintaining the story, to keep protecting whatever this is from reaching you, they are done. Stay with me, Virgo, because what I am about to walk you through is the story of a wall coming down brick by brick and what is on the other side of it once it falls completely. I want to begin by describing the energy of this person who is doing the pleading, because understanding their desperation is key to understanding why this situation has reached the point it has reached. This is someone who has been operating under a particular assumption for a while now. The assumption that the people around them, the people who know certain things, who have witnessed certain things, who have been asked at various points to look the other way or to keep certain information contained, would continue to do so indefinitely. That the arrangement, whatever it has been, was stable, sustainable, something that did not require active maintenance because everyone involved had simply settled into their roles. That assumption is no longer holding. And the reason it is no longer holding is not because of anything you did. You have not been investigating. You have not been pressuring anyone. You have simply been living your life, and in the living of it, something has shifted in the people around this situation that has nothing to do with your direct involvement and everything to do with the natural limits of how long people are willing to carry something that does not belong to them. Let me speak to what has been happening with the people who have been asked to stay silent, because their experience of this situation is where the real movement is happening right now. When someone asks you to keep a secret, especially a secret that involves someone you care about, there is an initial period where compliance feels relatively easy. The request seems reasonable, or at least manageable. There is loyalty involved, perhaps to the person asking, and loyalty creates a kind of momentum that makes silence feel like the natural, uncomplicated choice. But silence has a cost, and that cost accumulates over time in ways that are not always obvious at first. Every time someone holds information that affects you while interacting with you normally, while maintaining a relationship with you that does not reflect the full truth of what they know, something small happens inside them. A tiny dissonance, a small gap between who they are being with you and what they actually know. Most of the time, this dissonance is manageable. People compartmentalize. They tell themselves it is not their business, or that it is not their place, or that the situation will resolve itself eventually without their involvement. But dissonance like this does not simply disappear because it is managed. It accumulates, and there is a point, different for different people, but real for everyone, where the accumulated weight of holding something becomes heavier than the discomfort of letting it go. Multiple people in your orbit have reached that point or are very close to it. I want to speak specifically about what has caused this breaking point because I feel it has a specific quality and I want to honor that specificity. Something happened recently, not a single dramatic event necessarily, though for some of you it might have been exactly that, but something that has made the gap between the story being maintained and the reality underneath it too wide to continue ignoring. Maybe it was something this person did, something that crossed a line that the people around them had been willing to overlook up until this point, but that this specific action made impossible to continue overlooking. Maybe it was something that put one of the people who has been staying silent in an uncomfortable position, forced them to choose between their loyalty to the secret and their own integrity in a way they had not had to choose before. Maybe it was simply time, the slow accumulation of small things finally reaching a threshold that no single moment can be identified as the cause of, but that is undeniably present now in a way it was not before. Whatever the specific trigger, the result is the same. The people who have been holding this, who have been part of maintaining the silence around whatever the situation involves, are no longer willing to continue doing so without reservation. The pleading I described at the start of this reading, the urgent, please do not tell them, that pleading exists because this person can feel the shift happening, can sense that the people they have been relying on are pulling away from their role in maintaining this, and they are right to feel that because it is happening. I want to speak now to what this situation actually involves because I am feeling specific energy around the nature of what has been kept from you, and I want to share what is coming through as clearly as I can. This is not a small thing. I want to say that directly. Whatever this is, it is not the kind of minor secret that, once revealed, produces a shrug and a so what. The intensity of the pleading, the weight that the people holding this have been carrying, the breaking point quality of where this has now arrived, all of this points to something that genuinely matters. Something that, when it reaches you, is going to require your full attention and your full processing. For some of you, this involves a betrayal of trust. Something that was done by this person or by someone connected to them that violated the basic terms of whatever relationship or understanding existed between you. The kind of thing that, had you known about it when it happened, would have changed how you understood that relationship immediately. For others, this involves information about character, not necessarily a single event, but a pattern, a way this person has been operating behind the scenes that contradicts significantly with how they have presented themselves to you. Behaviors, conversations, choices that reveal someone different from the person you have been interacting with. For still others, this involves something more directly related to feelings or intentions, something that someone has felt or said about you in your absence that has been deliberately kept from you because revealing it would change the dynamic between you in ways this person has not been ready to navigate. Does this feel like it is connecting to a specific situation in your life, Virgo? A relationship where you have sensed something being managed around you, where the energy of certain people has felt slightly different in ways you could not quite explain? Let me know in the comments. I want to know how this is landing for you. I want to speak now to how this is going to reach you because I feel the mechanism of it is significant. This is not going to come from this person directly. They are, as we have established, actively working to prevent exactly this from happening. The revelation, when it comes, is going to come from one of the people who has been holding this, someone who has reached their own breaking point with maintaining the silence, and who, whether through a direct conversation, an offhand comment that reveals more than intended, or a deliberate decision to finally tell you the truth, becomes the source through which this information reaches you. I feel this happening relatively soon, not in the sense of an exact date, but in the sense of momentum that has already been building toward this for a while, and that does not have much further to go before it reaches its natural conclusion. When it happens, it may not happen with the dramatic framing that this reading might suggest. It might come through quietly, a conversation that starts about something else entirely and gradually reveals more than either of you expected. A moment of vulnerability from someone who has been carrying this and simply cannot continue carrying it any longer. A question you ask almost casually that receives an answer more honest than you were prepared for. However it arrives, the effect is going to be the same. The wall is going to come down, and what has been on the other side of it is going to become visible to you fully for the first time. Inhale. I want to speak to your reaction, or what I anticipate your reaction will be, because I think preparing for this honestly matters. When information like this finally reaches someone after being withheld for a period of time, there is often a complex mix of feelings that arise together. There is the content of the information itself, whatever it specifically reveals, and your reaction to that content. But there is also a separate reaction, sometimes even more significant, to the withholding itself, to the realization that people around you knew something that affected you and chose, for whatever reason, not to tell you. This second reaction can sometimes be more difficult than the first, because it is not just about what happened. It is about the network of people around you and what their silence reveals about the dynamics in your life that you may not have fully seen before. I want you to know that whatever you feel in response to both of these things, the content and the withholding, is valid. You do not need to immediately rationalize anyone's behavior, including the behavior of people who you might otherwise consider close to you. You are allowed to feel whatever genuine response arises, including anger, including hurt, including the specific disorientation of realizing that things were not quite what they appeared to be. I also want to speak to what happens after the initial impact of this revelation, because I feel there is something important on the other side of it. Once the wall comes down, once the silence breaks and you have the full picture, something shifts for you, not just in terms of what you know, but in terms of how you move forward. Because right now, even though you may not have all the details, some part of you has likely been sensing that something is not quite right, that there is a gap between what is visible and what is actually happening. That feeling, even without specifics, has its own cost. It creates a kind of low-level unease that affects how you engage with this person, with the people around them, with the situation as a whole. When the truth arrives, that unease resolves, not necessarily into comfort, at least not immediately, but into clarity. And clarity, even painful clarity, allows you to make decisions, set boundaries, and move forward in ways that uncertainty does not. You are going to be able to see this situation and the people involved in it with a completeness that you do not currently have. And from that completeness, you are going to be able to determine what role, if any, this person and this situation should continue to have in your life going forward. I want to speak to this person specifically for a moment, the one who has been pleading for silence, because I think understanding their position helps complete the picture. This is someone who is afraid not of consequences in some abstract sense, but specifically of you, of your reaction, of what your knowing would mean for whatever relationship or dynamic currently exists between you. The pleading is not coming from a place of malice toward the people they are asking to stay silent. It is coming from a place of genuine fear about what happens when the truth reaches you. And in a way, that fear is informative because it tells you something about how significant this person understands the information to be. They are not asking for silence about something trivial. They are asking for silence about something they know on some level would change things if you knew it. That alone tells you something about the weight of what is coming. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with something that I think matters more than the specific content of whatever this revelation turns out to be. You deserve the truth, not as an abstract principle, but as something specific to your situation right now. Whatever has been managed around you, whatever has been kept from you through the cooperation of multiple people who have decided, for whatever reasons, that you were better off not knowing, that decision was not actually theirs to make. The truth about your own life, about the people in it, about what has actually been happening around you, belongs to you. It is yours by right, regardless of how uncomfortable it might be for the people who have been managing your access to it. The walls are coming down because the people holding them up have finally recognized this too. Whether consciously or not, the breaking point that is happening right now is, in part, a recognition that you deserve better than continued management, that whatever discomfort the truth might bring is less than the ongoing harm of you not having it. When it arrives, receive it as what it is, not as an attack, even if its content is difficult, but as something that was always rightfully yours, finally being returned to you. If this reading touched something real in you today, please share it with a Virgo who needs to hear this, and leave me a comment below. Tell me what is coming up for you. Tell me if you have been sensing something being managed around you, even without specifics. I read every single word you share. Every story matters to me, and I carry your energy with care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, the truth was always yours. It is just finally finding its way back to you.